Open for radio. Stay open.
That kind of takes us to, I guess the first topic, and we can speak to this now because, we grown. I was arguing with people back in 2013 about this digital future, and now it's here. But also too, I'm a multiplayer guy, so I'm just like Scar. So when Xbox Live is down, or if PSN is down, or if the internet is down in my house, and I'm trying to play a game, because I am a multiplayer guy, I like Battlefield, I like Halo, I like whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so I cannot play anything. So I'm looking like, okay, I guess I go back and play Sonic the Hedgehog or Streets of Rage or something for a little bit till my internet come back up, whatever. But at the beginning, and really every single year, we have seen some type of game or software or the breakdown of certain things. And we have these little small minor clauses in the digital purchases that we buy. They have expiration dates. Now, of course, the expiration dates are exuberant. It says like 2025 or something like that or whatever, 2024. But gosh dog, it's 2020 now. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't download all my Walking Dead episodes that I bought on Microsoft's platform, or if I don't download a perfect example, Ultraviolet is no more. I had to sit there and I had to download 20 movies in my Ultraviolet library because they went out of business or whatever happened. But even much more than that, we don't own anything anymore, and that's the scary part to me, because there is that small old gamer in me that feels like, gosh, dog, when Battlefield 4 came out, that game was terrible. Master Chief Collection was atrocious. Batman Arkham City, Night. It came out broken, and it's like developers have developed this mindset of we'll just patch it. Like, no, when you build a game, when you make a game, when that game goes gold, you are saying that game is certified, ready to play out of the box. Patching means there's a minor issue here, there's a graphical quirk here, you got to fix it or whatever. But we getting patches that are almost like 99 gigs now. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, my the new update for the Division 2 was like 58 gigs.
It was 58 gigs.
An update?
Yes, 58 gigs.
And it changed. It was a complete overhaul of that game.
Because you're now in New York, right? You're now back in New York with Kena, right?
It's the DLC is in New York. Yeah, and it's a much smaller area of New York.
But still, the thing is, like, 50 gigs. Son.
But see, here's the thing. The crazy part about it is they did the whole Capcom thing. You have to whether you have the they released a title update before, at the same time that they did the New York thing. Mm-hmm. So even if you just wanted to play the game, you still had to download all of that. You want to know how much that key, once I already had everything downloaded because I bought it a few days after.
13 minutes.
No, it was like 28K.
What? So it just unlocked it, is it?
It just unlocked it. That's all it did. It was like 28K to unlock that, but I had already had to download it because I did the title update.
Modern Warfare is the same way. If you do not do their title update, and their title update was 62 gigs, you don't get that, you can't play the game.
I'm sorry, man. Like, you just sent me a whole new title. 62 gigs is huge.
Yeah, and like Scar is saying, these title updates aren't just updates, and they're not just like giving you goodies or trinkets or whatever the case may be. They are fundamentally changing the game. Like, I remember when I downloaded...
No, hold on, wait. Let me clarify one word. They are fundamentally fixing their broken ass.
I know, exactly. like Battlefield was broken. Master Chief Collection took 6 months to fix it, and then when they fixed it, there was still some issues. Mm-hmm. And like, that's like, in the broader picture, how do you feel about this digital future? Because when something happens, my sons just shrug their shoulders and they go pick up the iPad and turn on Mario Party or whatever the case may be. I don't shrug my shoulders because I'm the one shelling out the cash for this internet. I'm the one shelling out this cash for Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus or whatever the case may be. So I don't shrug my shoulders. I'm like, this stuff should work. And I just paid $60 for Battlefield 4. This should work right now. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's different. The difference between like a Division and Destiny and what they do, and the difference between No Man's Sky and the new Ghost Recon, those are two completely separate things to me, because they're both doing the same basically things, and basically what they're getting ready to do to Anthem, where they released those things. They released a broken product, and like they've been scrambling to fix it, and then it's just like, you know what, we're just going to do an overhaul, and that's the No Man's Sky, the Anthem, and all what Anthem is trying to do. But in the case of the Division, like these are changes that they probably could have made, but in these cases, especially what happened with that in Destiny when Taken King and stuff came out, these are things that's like, no, this is what our game needs, so we're going to do a big overhaul of everything. If you want to buy the DLC, that's cool, but like everything else, like I get that part of it. I get like reevaluating your situation and say, okay, these things don't work. These things don't work the way we intended, so let's just go back and fix it, as opposed to our game doesn't work.
Here's the caveat to that that's so interesting about this overhaul and patch thing. You have a game that probably came out, I don't know, I'm probably wrong, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and they're constantly keeping it fresh, and it's still popular. I am shocked how good Rainbow Six Siege is doing with the updates that they constantly just keep putting on that game. Yeah. And I would rather see something like that, where I ain't got to go run out and buy Rainbow Six Siege 2 or whatever. You just keep updating the game, putting new characters in it. But
at the same time, the same parent company completely botched Ghost. Yeah,
and see that's the dice that you roll, and I guess I'll get Blue to speak to this one because he is a single player guy. You know, now we have games coming out in this digital landscape where we're paying for game passes up front, and we don't know what's coming in the game pass. Right. Like, you know, like we are paying in an additional $20, $30, $40, $50 in some cases, depending on the popularity of the game, for this digital game pass. It's going to provide us more content, but we have no idea what content is going to be included. So Blue, can you speak to the marketplace and like whether you think it's good or bad, or you kind of like just, I guess,
yeah, absolutely. So what I think is the problem here is the fact that these companies that generally release games that rely on this continuing revenue stream down the line are normally massive companies. They don't need them ducats. They generally don't need the money, but they just out here to get it because they know give it to them. So the problem is what is happening subconsciously, and people aren't paying attention, is that a $60 game is no longer a $60 game. A $60 game is a $90, $100 game, $120 sometimes. And we're just not noticing it because we have a chance to modularly pay it. We can pay for the base game, and then when they send an update or an expansion or whatever, then we pay for the expansion. We're not putting 2 and 2 together saying, well, 60, 20. You know, we're just not doing that. And so it renders a problem because I would do that for a company that I trusted or a small company who needed the funds in order to complete said expansion or to improve the game in some manner. I would do that. But A, there aren't many companies out here that I trust like that. And B, these people don't need my money like that. So,
you know what? I'm going to tell y'all something that I was when I was getting into playing 2K a bit. Now I don't play the park and all that kind of stuff. I usually just stay with my career stuff. But I was watching stuff about builds and stuff like that, about, you know, what I would want to do with characters. And I heard a mid to high, not super high level 2K YouTuber say this: when y'all buy this game at $60, I can't do that. I have to go in knowing that it's $90 up front or $100 up front. Right. And he said it's I buy the game, and then because of the virtual currency that's involved, I have to spend an extra $40 per character that I do for this YouTube channel. per character, because of course in this year, when you have your little VC pool, your virtual currency pool in 2K, it doesn't cross-pollinate for your different characters.
That's so
So
dumb.
like each character starts from 0. And so like it makes it worse, because like before you can use that money, you could use that money on one character, get in there and grind with that character some VC, and then put it on another character and do another build. No, that's locked out now. It's $40 a pop once the game is purchased to make your character usable enough to make videos.
Right.
Damn.
And when you think about just the DLC, because I know people, a lot of 2K fans have a lot of ire against 2K and what they've become in the area of the My Player section, and also the FIFA fans as well. Like, I mean, from what I read and from what I hear, FIFA is bad, like super bad, like it's crazy.
Wow.
I'm not a soccer fan, but the prices they have on some of that stuff is ridiculous. But I guess we can kind of get around about again. Let's start with Ace this time. Ace, when you, because you have kids.
Before you go there, can I make one point real quick?
Oh yeah, go.
The whole thing I was trying to say, and I guess I'll break out some of my business school language for cats. What it's doing, what this whole process is doing of getting money after the fact, is expanding the consumer elasticity, and it's expanding how much a consumer is actually willing to pay, and what's going to end up happening, they're going to end up pricing out people who game on the cheap. Pricing out people who don't really have a lot of money to delve as deep into this game and pastime that some other folks do, and it's problematic. And I don't like it. I don't like the companies telling me how much I got to spend on their stuff. Get your hands out of my pocket. Please continue.
Get your hands out my pocket.
well, the point that I was going to make is that because this is sort of the next piece, and I know we have a lot of opinions on it, but really I'm of like two minds about it. But I want to get you guys' thoughts. Is that when we look at that type of stuff and we talk about the intervention and we talk about the free market, we talk about the customer, we talk about the companies that produce this content, you got places like Europe. Well, some places in Europe have actually created and enacted laws about, you can't make an app where it's gonna, be sort of, I guess it's streamed over into gambling with microtransactions and everything.
Bro,
and that
2K actually put gambling in their game after the loot box controversy. Like when you're in My Player, you go to this place and you spin a wheel to win a prize, and when you're in my team, there's like other kind of like gambling and actual gambling elements like this. I am actually spinning a big ass Price is Right wheel to win stuff, and like there's some sort of I don't play my team, but as I understand it, I've seen videos, there's like some sort of slot machine element of this, and like it's to the point to where it's like I've heard, I don't know how real this is, but like if you have packs, my team packs, because you open card packs to get stuff, they say if you have packs just sitting there and you ain't open them, you can risk being banned from the game by not opening your packs.
What?
Get out.
Yeah, that's crazy. If that's true, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean that element is a part of the digital landscape because developers are trying to make extra money out of it, and this is my base philosophy because I think the market should be free, and by saying the market should be free, meaning that not saying that people shouldn't be able to voice their ire, their opinions, and everything, but if you're going to be, because I talked to Mandy, she works, I think she works for Game Loft or whatever, and she was talking about how, like, when you look at games that are on cell phones or even small games that are free to play, over half of their incomes comes from these people that are called whales, right? Mm-hmm. And they go on and they spend tons of money. They spend hundreds of dollars, sometimes, in the thousands of dollars on these games. And my thought process is, well, if you want to be crazy, you can go ahead and do it your own self. But where my stopping point is that if the game does not allow me to earn those things and I have to pay, that's when I take issue. Right. Battlefront 2, Battlefront 1, even Tomb Raider to a certain extent or whatever. And like even Street Fighter now, when you play Street Fighter, I remember going through Street Fighter 2 Turbo or Super or whatever, playing with playing with Gal or Ryu or whatever, getting perfects, getting first contact hits and everything, and I did it all to unlock Akuma, right? you unlock Akuma. When you play Marvel vs. Capcom, you unlock, Thanos and Bison and everything. That's not even a choice now.
Not anymore.
Like, remember, I'm gonna take you back a little bit. Remember when in the early days of like Halo 2 and early Gears, remember after 3 months the map packs just became free?
Right.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Because that was a way to keep people playing. If somebody wanted to pay to get in early, they got in early. But if you ain't want to put no money in this, then you got locked out. There were certain playlists that had these maps and stuff in it that you couldn't get in. And you couldn't get in. You just gonna have to wait. And you wait 3 months. Those maps are free. And it's like, hey, we're gonna come out with some more maps, and we're gonna do the same thing. And that's how they made their money. Right. And it seems like way more honest about how they did it. And they just say, hey, at this point, it's just gonna become free, and you'll be all right. The craziest part right now is like we are bucking. We are like not as angry about this as we was about Horse Armor, and Horse Armor never lied to us.
Right.
Horse Armor never tried to deceive us.
They told you what it was.
They told you it's just a skin. Like, it's just a skin. It don't do nothing. It don't make it's not any actual armor. It doesn't do anything for your horse, but it just make you look pretty. And we was like, we gonna make it look pretty. You want me to spend $5 on this? And it's like, yeah, now we spend way more on less.
Yep.
And then we'd be like, ooh, shiny.
Man, that looks good.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I guess rolling from that, because Blue, you kind of said it earlier, but my frustrating thing is I would be more apt, and I literally have basically all but gone digital. My sons have Game Pass. I pay the $15 because if I want to play on their account, I log onto my PC and I can play all the stuff on Game Pass that I never got a chance to play before or whatever.
Right.
But they have Game Pass and they have a blast because they can play games, they can boot it up. But I'm now playing a monthly subscription, and they got me. You know what I'm saying? Because I got kids. I don't want to spend $60 a pop, but so they basically got me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so
don't know parent our age want to pay for Minecraft.
Right, right, exactly. I'm not paying a dime for Minecraft, but in a way I am, because I'm paying $15 a month to the company that makes Minecraft, right? Or that's actually exclusive to it or whatever, pushing it out. But here's my thing, and this is my frustration, is that when I log on to Amazon or when I log on to GOG or Steam or whatever, when you look at the physical copy in the marketplace, or hey, we can send you the case and whatever, but it's gonna cost you $54.99. But it's like, that's not the physical version, that's the digital version. But the physical version is like $30 or $15.
Right.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on with that? No other medium, and this is what I want to get kind of get into. When you look at music, price went down, quality, you can argue quality as far as music taste and everything else. That's opinion. But the price went down. Books, the price went down. If you want the paperback version, the hard copy, the leather skin version, you're going to pay more. But it's like in video games, it's so weird as far as the pricing. The physical copies cost more than digital copies, and I'm getting less for my money.
Right. So listen, so one of the reasons why the physical copies end up costing less than the digital copies is because, retailers have limited amount of shelf space or a limited amount of storage space or warehouse space. So they have to move that out to make room for more hot things. Ain't nobody buying Brink right now. So they're gonna get Brink as low as they need to get Brink to move it out so they can put what just came out today, Doom, out there on the shelf.
You ain't gonna talk bad about Brink.
Brink talk bad.
I don't like Brink.
Brink talk bad about it.
You lucky they never got around to making Brink work, because y'all know I would have spammed that check.
Man,
y'all gonna get on this. Y'all gonna get on this Brink with your boy.
Right.
I'm gonna go get Zabari.
That's what we gotta part ways. I can't do Brink with you, bro.
But honestly, man. So what ends up happening, man? I see what you're saying, Knox. I mean, there is no physical hardware to be concerned with, right? There's no actual logistical complexity that goes along with digital pricing. However, that pricing just tends to remain high. That only generally happens. That only comes down when they run sales.
You have to specify on console.
On console, yes. On console, right. I was just about to say that. It only really happens on consoles when they do sales. In PC, you can pretty much always get it cheap. just because there are a lot of competitive marketplaces out there for that. But with console, there aren't that many. Like, where else are you going to get a digital version of God of War on PS4? There may be one other place outside of Sony where you can get that. And because of that, they hold a monopolistic advantage over that marketplace. It's just what they do.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
okay.
It's what they do, and like when they do sales and stuff like that, is always something like real slimy. You know, this is something that I noticed. All right, if you go to Walmart, right, you can get a thing of ice cream. Let's just say $3.50 for a thing of some good ice cream. Not
Bluebell.
Bluebell.
You finally figured out Bluebell was good.
That Millennium is my jank though. That Millennium Crunch, bro. I got the cookie joint in right now, and it has it's cookie dough and cookies and cream in the same ice cream. I'm just trying to tell y'all, I know, yeah. So like, what you call it? So like, Walmart will have some ice cream and it's $3.50 for the junk. And then like you would go to a place like Food Lion and they would have a sale and it's like it's 2 for $7, but it's regularly like $5. But they make it 2 for $7. And you're like, well, with your sale, you just made it the same price as Walmart, right, except for I gotta buy 2 now. Right. And so that's what out of you. That's what these game companies be doing in their game stores.
But you know, I know this might sound like a really petty and niche thing, but don't ever count out the power of convenience, because when people don't have to get up and they can just hit a button and then download it. Like the other day, like actually last week, my boss was like, man, I really want to get Borderlands 3. I really want to play it. And I was like, well, you know, you can just pick it up. He says, man, I'm about to hit this button right now. Just go on and get it. It's just the fact that they can just hit a button and it downloads. The power of convenience, man, is no joke. You don't have to go. If you don't have to be out there at midnight at night to get that game, you just be right there in your pajamas for it download.
And I see that with my kids because, and this is what I talk about. You know, us going through this, and we've been able to be here long enough to see all this stuff change. And I talked to Blue about this offline, but I'll talk about it now. As we see cloud game coming, all these costs and prices and everything, my sons have never lived in a gaming era where digital currency, digital pricing, and cloud gaming did not exist. Mm-hmm. So they are already apt or prone to buy digital. And then like, look, we don't want a physical copy. Like, we got to get up now. Like, we got to go get the disc. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I kid you not.
See what I'm saying?
Bro, I kid you not. My kids were watching regular TV because, of course, the internet went out. And you know the internet goes out when everybody comes to the room that has a router in it. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's usually my office. So so my son, he comes around. He's like, Dad, I don't know, what's going on. He's looking like very, very distraught. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? He's like, we're trying to watch TV, but these, I don't know. It's like these little shows keep coming on, and they're fine because they're talking about toys, but they keep interrupting our show. I'm like, dude, that's commercials, man. Get out of my office.
You know what?
Wow.
I got two things. Someone said that she got tired of being ignored in her house, so she turned off the router, and it would look like the beginning of Beat It, where it's like, doom, everybody popping out from everywhere. But shout out to the Latino brother from New York Undercover. He's one of the first people that pops out from the side in the video. He was dancing. And then two, the craziest thing, like what you were just talking about, like our kids have never lived in this world. I was watching something when I had my daughter around Christmas time. We were watching something and something was old. We were watching something older, and somebody was at a payphone. And the look on her face when they were at a payphone was like the most perplexing thing ever. Like, she did not understand, why is there just a phone in the middle of nowhere and you have to put money into it to use it? Like, the idea of a payphone was so foreign to her. She looked like I just tried to explain calculus. You know what I mean?
What do you mean limit? What do you mean limit?
Right. You know what I'm saying? But I started talking to my sons about, as far as gaming, I was like, because I won an Xbox One X via the Taco Bell thing or whatever, right?
Yeah, we know.
So I have a Project Scorpio. I have an Xbox One X in the living room. They have
a 50-inch in your bathroom.
S.
Go ahead, keep talking.
No. They have an Xbox One S.
It's 47. Don't
I forgot. It's 47. It's 47. I forgot. My bad. Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. but my sons don't know about memory cards because they have cloud saves.
Wow.
So when
we that old?
Yeah.
I forgot. Let me tell you what happened with this cloud
listen. When they play Minecraft on their 360, they hop right over into my office and play it on Project Scorpio, and it downloads. When their friends come over for a birthday party, everybody's playing on everything, and they have no thought of even remembering to save because we have auto save, we have cloud saves and everything. Wow. So to speak to Ace's point, it is widely convenient, but are we willing to trade our what's what we're looking for? Are we willing to trade our substance for convenience? Like
I'm going to say, it's not
probably not us, but they will.
It's not that convenient. Let me tell you what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, like I said, I rarely use my PlayStation. It's not because I dislike PlayStation or anything like that. I just rarely use it because most of the people that I play games with are on Xbox. Mm-hmm. And my friends list on PlayStation isn't that large. And so, yeah, that. So my daughter, for her birthday last year, she wanted to play some of the PlayStation exclusive, like Detroit Become Human, and one of the other ones, the other game that's made by David Cage. I can't remember. Yes,
yeah.
So like at the time when she played those during her birthday last year, I still had PlayStation Plus, so everything was fine. She played through the games. When she went back home, and my PlayStation Plus ran out. When she came back, all of her saves were gone because they were all cloud saves and is locked behind PlayStation Plus.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So she had to start over in every single one of the games that she played, because it was like 3 or 4 of them that she really wanted to play, but those two most specifically.
Right.
So she had to start over because I stopped paying for PlayStation Plus because it didn't seem worth me paying for. And those cloud saves that we tout so highly are tied behind a paid system, and it shouldn't be.
Concur.
Yeah.
It's Knox. As bad as that, we don't want to trade that. It's going to happen. Like I always look at the analogy of what was the name of that cartoon? WALL-E, where all those crazy obese people didn't have to get up.
Right.
And they were doing everything with their voice.
Absolutely.
Man, if you were to go on YouTube right now and look at the many people that are making their homes like smart automation and anything to make it convenient, like I said, don't underestimate the power of convenience. We probably have that mindset of the old disc, but this new age coming up, they don't want to do that. They just don't.
Exactly. Well, I mean, speaking of the new age, let's just go into platforms. And I don't mind about hopping over to many different types of platforms because we have, here comes a new challenger, in the gaming industry. So we have PlayStation, we have Xbox, of course we have Nintendo, staple of the industry. But now we have players coming in, Google, Apple, and Amazon, and they have the capital. They have for those of you who are
listening, he's in Google.
Scar just bust out one.
I'm sorry. You said Google.
I was trying to be serious.
I mean, the worst. Has there been a worse launch of anything than Google Stadia
on live? No.
Was the Jaguar 64?
Probably on live, but on live never claimed to be a console. They only claimed to provide a service, but at the time the service wasn't technical enough to get across what they were trying to imagine.
I think on live was hindered by internet infrastructure.
Right.
Yeah. I have to say this with these new platforms coming out, and listen, I'm getting older. My kids are getting older. My money's getting tighter. I'm not saying I'm broke, but I'm damn sure saying I'm not rich. If that game can be played on my current system, or if I could get it, like Blue said, Blue don't even have to get the new console, the new Xbox. He's fine.
And I won't.
It's at a point right now where you start thinking, damn, do I want to keep running out buying these things? Because are they going to have more features or whatever? But damn, if it's going to play on my old console, I'm fine. I care less.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel about that? I mean, I'm just really curious.
People kind of poo-poo backwards compatibility. Like when they were talking about the backwards compatibility on the new PlayStation, people was like, well, why did he have that long conversation about that on that very poorly announced PlayStation briefing? Like, why did he talk so much about that? We don't need backwards compatibility. That's only for certain people. And it's like, bruh, I use backwards compatibility all the time. I would use it more if damn NCAA was still backwards compatible. I still got to turn on my 360 to play NCAA.
Yes.
But like, I think it's to that point to where it's like once we hit the PS3 and the 360, that the jump became less and less of a jump because you went from standard def to high def and all of this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the high def to 4K is not enough of a leap for most people. It's not. They said it years ago. Most people can't tell the difference between 1080 and 720.
No, they can't.
No.
So
no. Even the industry insiders, there was a GameSpot video where they got all those like elitist journalists who swore up and down that they could tell the difference, and they set up a PC, a PlayStation, and an Xbox, and they said, write down which one you think is better or whatever. And at the end of it, all of them got all of them wrong. Like you can't tell.
Was that the one where they were all like PCs on 720p?
No.
There was a different one I've seen.
Yeah. But there was one of them where they had them play the same game, and they had the same controller. Like I guess they hacked they said that they hacked the controller so that it would feel like the same experience.
Right.
But like the different consoles supposedly had different resolutions of what they were capable of, and they were glowing about one, and like this one looked bad, and all of that other stuff, and all of them were on PC at 720p.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like they basically just.
Do you remember Shadowfall? What was it? Was it Shadowfall? Where it was I don't think the game was in 1080p, but if they were touting that the game was in 1080p and they were going crazy over that.
Bro, when
the most beautiful piece of crap ever. Yeah, I remember.
Bro, when the Xbox One and the PlayStation first came out, I remember it was IGN, riding Sony saying, "Oh, Sony's doing 1080p, 720p is so much better." And they was like, "No, y'all got that wrong. We haven't even released the patch yet. Like the patch is going to be coming 2 weeks from now. They're both 720p." And so, but I think
one
the biggest
person tried to zoom,
and we can keep bouncing around, but I think the biggest person is like what Scar said a while ago, is that Nintendo hasn't cared about this whole entire power race for a long time, and they are catering to their audience. Now, granted, Nintendo has the most recognizable IPs probably in gaming, right? Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Samus, these type of people or whatever, Smash Brothers and everything.
And I use my Switch only slightly more than I use my PlayStation.
And the one thing I will say about Nintendo, their titles are quality. I will give them that.
But here's the problem. Let's go back to an old conversation. Like, the prices don't change. Like, how long has these games been out and they still $60?
Forever.
There's games there. The Kairosoft, who everyone knows, I love Kairosoft games for the phones. Kairosoft games that I pay $1 for, $5 max when they first come out, or $12 for the exact same game on the Switch store. Each and every one of them. Game dev story is $12. Do you know how long it's been since I paid $1 for?
It's funny you say that. I want to buy Breath of the Wild so bad, and the game is like 2-3 years old, but it's still $60. I'm like,
$60. It's still $60. And the worst part about it is like the used games ain't even like the $5 difference. It's like the
Breath of the Wild on Wii U, because don't forget that came out on Wii U too, because I have it in the living room. It's still like $40. So,
damn,
so
that's crazy, bro.
But that speaks to Nintendo's IP, and that speaks to their quality and also speaks to their to the value of their brand. Nintendo does not have to. Their fan base alone, their consumer base alone, propagates 10 million sold every single game they sell. So Nintendo has had the luxury of having that strong IP and that longevity of having that strong IP. They don't need a Game Pass or a PlayStation Now.
But their biggest problem is their fan base's attachment to just those things. Because if you look at like attach rates, attach rates, like Microsoft is hitting everybody in the head with attach rates. Because like even these PlayStation zealots are not actually buying a lot of these games, and especially they're buying the Spider-Mans when they come out and stuff like that. But after 2 weeks, that game is dead.
Yeah, Link needs to talk. Damn it, I want to hear Link talk. Link ain't talk yet.
I don't even want to know what Link's
No.
I can do without that.
There was this Zelda television show like back in the 90s. I'm sorry, late 80s. And he talking and wasn't that good, bro.
Oh, no, it was terrible. It was terrible. I think he talked in the game. I think he talked in the game on the Neo Geo or one of those systems where he was on there. Bro, you don't want to hear that one.
We don't really need that. They got Urkel to be Sonic. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, I'm not just saying.
Over and gone.
But yeah, man. But so I'll go back and say the things that we talked about pricing before, and then talking about the new competitors coming into the marketplace. The new competitors are here because of what the established competitors found last year, and what they found is that recurring revenue is where it's at. What they found is that if I can give you something, if I can find a way to attach your digital games to another purchase that you have to renew either monthly or yearly, then that means I'm getting money from you every single month. You're buying into something to keep what you have. And
Game Pass. Game Pass is the best thing that Microsoft did this generation, period.
For them, not for consumers, but consumers take a value out of it, but what do you own at the end of the day when you stop paying for it? Absolutely
it depends
nothing
on
but an experience.
It depends on what you personally get out of Game Pass.
Right.
Well,
absolutely.
What I'm saying is there's a difference between utility versus which is the amount of satisfaction you acquire from entering into experience versus what do you actually own regarding property, right? Yeah. That's the argument that I'm making, and what Google and what Amazon and who was the other player that we mentioned? What they're
Apple.
And Apple, what they're doing is everything is tied to a subscription. So that recurring revenue is hitting them, because let's just look at the numbers of recurring revenue. I ran these numbers with Knox the other day, and hell, even I was surprised. So Microsoft currently has 85 million, or at last count, right? 80. Let's say Microsoft has 80 million. Right, let's just go conservative.
Stay conservative with it, yeah.
Stay conservative. Microsoft has.
You know somebody gonna say something, so
right. So at last count that we can verify, Microsoft had about 80 million. I think they said 85, but let's just make it easy. 80 million customers. Okay. Now we know from old E3s, from prior E3s, from prior presentations, Microsoft said that their percentage of people who had a gold subscription, which is a recurring fee, right, was about 50%. They actually said it was about 75%, but we're being conservative here. So let's say 50%. So half of the 80 is 40 million. Now, there are two different packages for Game Pass, right? Right? There's the $10 a month one, right? And then there's the $15 for the ultimate for the PC. Let's just say, and again, let's just apply the same 50% deal, because I believe that's what it is. I think it's a little higher, but let's just say 50% of the 50% of all Xbox consumers have it. So that's 20 million consumers. And Game Pass is $10 a month, right? So that's $120 a year. Let's just keep it conservative and say you get it on the deal and it's $100 a year. So you have 20 million consumers who are giving you $100 each per year. Okay? 20 million. That's $2 billion in revenue they've made in a year simply off of
Wow.
Simply off of that. So that is why you have Google. Amazon and Apple entering this digital market because they see them ducats, yo. They not here. None of them have the expertise to present you and be actual legitimate gaming options. We've seen that in Google's packages.
It's just like politics.
Yeah.
Like going back to the original thing. Like basically, they the Green Party.
Right. Exactly.
They the Green Party.
That's it.
Don't nobody hear nothing about the Green Party until the election.
Right.
Oh,
exactly.
God.
So, but that's again, y'all. That's why we've had these this increased level of digital pricing, because you get to tie to your account, and you have it all the time. But hey, those cloud saves are kind of locked behind this, and those auto updates are locked behind PS Plus. You know what I mean, and things like that.
And the fact that they put their exclusives on Game Pass too, that's like, that's hard to be like, damn, I don't want to leave Game Pass. I can just play Gears 5 and not pay for it.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
So
well,
go ahead.
well, I mean, okay, so when you talk about Game Pass and you talk about that extra added revenue stream, I'm a little bit selfish in terms of, like, I like that Microsoft is making money, or rather, I like it for the end result of what I thought I was going to get this generation. And I'll say that as a person who I own 3 Xbox Ones and stuff like that and everything. So what I'm basically saying is, and we can do sort of a roundabout, is that when you think about stuff like Game Pass, and once your kids get grown and they get out of school and everything else, because we're talking about this right now, but we all began in 2009, right? I'm a little bit selfish because once my kids grow up and they get jobs, they're gonna have their own Game Pass. Like that's coming off my credit card.
I'm with you.
That's coming off my credit card, and it's so funny because my oldest is 12. And we've been in a console cycle that's lasted for 7 years now, right? Yeah. From 2013 to 2020, right? So now when you look at this next upcoming thing, we got PlayStation, and it's sort of apt because we know what the specs are for the next PlayStation. We know what the specs are for the next Xbox, and we can kind of dibble and dab in this in and out. We've seen Google Stadia. They tried. They came.
What you doing?
And they're still trying.
Shaking our head.
Yeah, I know. So
they try hard,
but okay. So we know that the last generation consoles, the Xbox One and the PlayStations, were underpowered. And I was talking to Blue about this a while ago. I was trying to figure out how in the world did just specifically Microsoft, how did they spend $3.2 billion with AMD and they came into the game so underpowered? But then you figure out through Phil's conversations and interviews and the team's interviews that they paid for 2 SoCs, 2 system on chips through AMD. So they already had the Xbox One X in mind. Yep. PlayStation already had the PlayStation Pro in mind, meaning that they knew these consoles were drastically underpowered. Y'all already knew this already, right? Yep. 1.3 teraflops and 1.8 teraflops.
It's like they both had to wait until 4K became a thing. That's right, what my feeling is like. Look, we know 4K is available, but is it available in enough homes for us to drop this thing?
Right.
So Sony, I kind of don't understand. Do you think Microsoft, because it was Kinect, they were really banking on that thing?
No. I think that they paid that amount of money up front because both these companies knew these consoles were drastically underpowered, but they needed to get these consoles out because they had already promised it already, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the larger picture that I want to get into. So we look at these new consoles. These consoles have pretty much flipped the script. Yep. We talked about the power narrative in the very beginning, but I love that these consoles are so powerful. Blue's forte is all the engines, teraflops, and everything else. But when I see 10 teraflops and I see 12 teraflops, I have a Blue build my computer. He came all the way to Texas and built it for me. I don't know what's inside of it. All I know is GTX 1080. That's all I know.
DX12.
And right. DX12. But I know that video card is. I think it's like 7-8 teraflops, something like that. I don't know, whatever it can be. But all I know is that these next gen consoles that are coming out are more powerful than the rig that I built for $2,500. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So in terms of that, where do you go, gentlemen? What does the landscape look like? Because it was always some sort of dig at console gamers. Oh, y'all the reason why we being held back. Consoles are holding PC back. We can't do whatever. But now consoles are getting back to the N64 days where consoles are going to be just as powerful as the vast majority if not more powerful than the vast majority of PCs that are actually out there. So it's taken away that whole excuse, meaning developers can't be lazy no more. They can't make an excuse. They have all this overhead, and they have the power.
Not to mention both of them having basically a PC architecture.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Well, that was also present this gen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I guess I don't want to be the
for us, Ace.
I guess I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I'm not ready to jump that fast until you actually have a compelling reason for me to get it. If there's a game that's actually someone is saying it cannot be played on my current console, it has to be played on this because of this, this, and this, that's why I'm not ready to make that jump that fast.
I would be lying if I said that was the case for me, because with me getting a new console, well, I never get these at launch. I never get them at launch. But like when I get it, is 100% going to be peer pressure. 100%.
You want to shoot more people in the face with your friends,
right? Like if my people don't get it, then I ain't gonna get it, because I don't want to be out here by myself. PlayStation. I know.
I'm with you on that, because if all of you get it, and I'm like, Ace, you don't know what you missed, and I'm like, damn y'all, man. Yeah, that's a different story.
Like because of y'all, I wanted a 1X. And I was just like, no, I don't really want to put that into a 1X, right. Even though like I now have a 4K TV that I have no 4K content for, except for YouTube. Yeah, but I don't pay for the extra Netflix. You got to pay for extra Netflix for the 4K content. And I already got too many subscriptions, bruh. You know how many subscriptions I pay for?
Hashtag recurring revenue. That's what I'm trying to do.
When you were talking about that, I was thinking about this the other day, like. Mm-hmm. I'm like I pay for Netflix, I pay for the Hulu, Disney, ESPN bundle. I pay for the family plan for YouTube Premium. Like, you know what I mean? Like I got a lot of subscriptions, bro.
Yeah, and I'm trying to avoid Knox when he calls me like, "Hey, did you see that, man? It's got 10 teraflops." I said, "I heard it. Now leave me alone." And I have to hang up on his face, and I don't want to do that, but I have to do that.
Well, the reason why I'm saying it is because I'm in the same boat as Scar. Is that I'm in a very weird position. I guess you would say a privileged position, that I have all these Xboxes in my house, and I have a PC that I built, so I can go the route of buying a video card for my PC and play on there, because my library is with Xbox, and every Xbox game I bought, well, not every Xbox game, but the majority of Xbox games that I bought, they transfer over to PC. I can download them. It's free. I pay for it.
Game Pass Premium, dog. Give us an extra $5 on that.
I know. But
I pay for the premium and I don't play nothing on PC. Like,
right, exactly. But now, since PC is becoming more, I would say, more console gamer friendly, I can literally, and I've literally just plugged in my Xbox controller to my PC, play right there. The only thing I don't like is playing in my desk, because I feel like I'm back at
work. No, I feel you.
But I will say this though, is that these next gen consoles, about 40% of me is like, man, like it just, like, I just hate the fact that somebody's out there and they playing something that's better than me. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
the only thing.
And I got an Xbox One X, but I'm like, somebody out there got an Xbox Series X, and it's just
look at Blue.
It's just a little bit clearer than I am. You know what I'm saying? I say
40%
of me. I didn't say the majority of me. I
said blue is bluer than mine.
Man, dog, I don't understand that, Knox. I don't understand.
Look at that water. Look at that water over there.
I know.
It's like I'm on the X, he's on the Series X. Like, Ace, you coming? I'm still loading, man. Can you give me 2 minutes? Right. I'm almost there.
Hey, and small side note. All developers, if you're listening, and all publishers, whoever, stop doing demos with water and cars. Okay, water and cars are the easiest thing to develop. They gonna look beautiful regardless, and we see water as far as we can go.
That's the easiest way to get dumb people. The same way that if you want it, like, I'm gonna tell you, like the very first time you saw football in HD, what did you say? Look at that grass, like, you know what I mean? Like, that grass, like, yo, it looked like
hash
grass.
Marks. You see them hashes?
Do you remember the PS3 tech demo? Man, look at all them ducks. That's a lot of ducks.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, look, Knox, I hear you, man. This generation, consoles are now taking they're now taking the lead again, because they're going to have the technological advancements that are actually extremely resource intensive and don't really appear in mass on the PC right now. Like ray tracing, right now You can do it, but it's going to slow you down. And then it's
right
now.
And for the uninitiated, can you please explain? Because I still don't understand. I have watched video after video after video.
Blue, you got to help us out with this.
I listened to Mark Cerny talk about ray tracing audio and everything else.
I don't even care.
And man, I'm sorry, but you gonna look. I saw it, but I'm like, it don't really impress me.
Blue, it looks like reflections. Give us some more insight on this.
Explain what ray tracing is.
Okay, so per the term, ray tracing is actually reproducing or tracing the path that light follows. It bounces, moves around from a source in your environment. So that's all it does. So the way that light bounces and moves around in a room, that's what ray tracing does. And what it does, you have to identify where your light sources are coming from, and then it runs tons of calculations to actually replicate realistic lighting in that regard. Now, what your boy Cerny was talking wasn't just that, but actually using that same technology, because sound actually moves as radio and light as a wave as well. So you can apply that same technology to audio. That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
See, I'm still trying to understand bump mapping from Chronicles of Riddick. You know what I'm saying?
I knew that you were going to say something.
Oh, so what is that, 2006? What is that? I don't know.
Damn, I remember that game. Yeah. A long time ago, that boy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So in terms of ray tracing, it's going to make the environment. Basically, I guess in my definition is that it makes the environment, both the audio environment and the visual environment, trick my brain enough to where I can believe that this environment is real.
Right, that the lighting and the sound is real.
It brings it closer to how light works.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And,
so
and then when you add in bump mapping, you know what I'm saying? Everything's
all over that point.
Exactly. Text filtering. I don't even know what that is, but I just hear it all the time. So I know that there are tons of other podcasts and YouTube channels. We're not going to get into the minutia of these consoles as far as the technical aspects and everything. That's not what we're here for. We are here to talk about the state of the union in the landscape. And this is one major point that I wanted to talk about when talking about new consoles, and also too in light of the now I guess it's considered to be a pandemic going on right now. And me and Blue was talking about this, and I'll just put my politics on Front Street. I'm a libertarian, so I believe in a free market capitalism, and I believe in, to a certain extent, there is some regulations that need to be had as far as government and everything, as far as the actual intervention. But having said that, in terms of I don't believe it's smart to keep all of our eggs in one basket. And I know it's first world problems when we're talking about video game consoles. There are people out there, and we do recognize that they need medicine, people need products and plastics and stuff that's being produced by China. I'm not talking about that. We're for the sake of video game podcasts, let's just bring it here, is that there's a very real possibility that these consoles are going to be delayed, right? Microsoft said that it's going to be coming out of November, but then there's a rolling effect and there's a domino effect that it's going to affect. We know GameStop is all but out the door. They're going to go the way of Toys R Us. They're going to go the way of Radio Shack. They're going to go the way of Blockbuster.
Bruh, they are not shutting down their stores. And
I know.
And I saw an article where they are not getting their stores the hand sanitizer and the cleaning supplies that they needed to actually clean their stores. So they keeping their stores open, making these people work at damn near minimum wage, and they just having people come in and touch everything.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. And I listened to a conference call. There's a guy, I think his name is Camelot 03 or Camelot 360 or whatever. Please put that in the notes whenever. But shout out to the guy. But he was a GameStop employee that worked there about 10 years, 11 years or whatever. He got access to a district manager call, and one of the girls on the line was like, "Hey, when these customers come in here and they come in to trade controllers and things that people touch on, kids touch on, and everything else or whatever, are we going to, require them to sanitize it or whatever?" It's like, no, just go ahead, just take it day by day, and just go ahead and just
day by day.
I'm like, take what day by day? What you talking about? If I get sick, I ain't gonna be here day by day. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? But I guess to the much broader point is that China produces everything we pretty much own, all the plastics, even some of the things that we, have and that we like. When I look on the back of my iPhone, I was telling Blue, like it says, the idea and the invention is made in Serpentino, California, but all the inputs, the components, the plastics and everything else is all made in China. So, when we think about that, like that's really like not scary in terms of like, oh, let's panic. But as a luxury item, we are literally dependent upon another country to produce this content. And GameStop being in the position that they are financially, they are dependent upon the consumer to be able to come and buy these consoles from their stores. So I guess speak to what you would, or rather what your opinion is about all that, and then we'll have a discussion about that.
All right. So if that was directed at me, I don't know if that was directed at A here soon, but
no, go ahead, Blue.
The problem is, man, yeah, it would be nice for us to domesticate some of those processes, but the problem is China simply has a competitive advantage for it. They can simply make it cheaper. It's just that simple. And I don't know any of these companies, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Google, Amazon, Apple, are out here to make less profit. And so if they were to bring it here, you're gonna at least double or maybe even triple the wage rate that you pay those people to make all of those products, those plastics, all of that stuff to go through that
because
fabrication
it's highly
process.
Specialized, and you need highly specialized people if you take it away from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so go ahead.
No, and that's why why I'm sort of torn because. But I would tell you this, and this is not for any patriotic reason. This is just for sheer understanding of, if I own the business, which of course I'm sort of in a semi partnership with somebody. If I made content, I would keep 50% of my production here because something like this could always happen, and I don't want to be stuck out and not be able to provide that service or that content to my consumer. That's just me, right? But I believe the companies need to make their own decisions. But in terms of a consumer, I do have a voice to say, hey, Microsoft, like, I understand that you want to save that cost, but me as a consumer, maybe we can work something out to where we meet in the middle, like Canada, where they pay a little bit more. Of course, not a little bit more. They pay a lot more than what we do in terms of the services and everything. Because one, I believe that would save us in terms of the hardware that we're using, because we're still using hardware. And in terms of this stuff is getting produced by someone that is outside of our jurisdiction, pretty much. We have a contract, we shook hands and we signed on the dotted line, but they really ain't got to do nothing if they don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking to Blue and I'm like, just look up the Chinese Range Rover, and I forget what it's called, but Blue, I think Blue looked at the price and it's like $15,000.
Yeah,
and they literally copied point for point. Bumper to bumper. It is a Range Rover. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
Like it's a Range Rover, bro.
The word, man.
It's crazy.
Quality. But no, you're right. But again, that goes back to just that price, the enhanced cost is going to cost to make that here. These companies are going to pass that, and so I understand why they don't do it, and in a way I'm kind of grateful for it. But this is the price of doing that, right? This is the price of manufacturing, of outsourcing component. This is the cost of doing business, man.
And you got to think of the population there too. I mean, that population has always been growing, will always grow, and that will always give them jobs. So
right. True, man. So and how again, man, what's going on now in our country? How we pretty much everybody's that would have in this case that would have here too.
That's right.
I mean, it would have shut down. Anything would have been shut down if we actually produced anything other than debt
and overpriced view. But yeah, man. So knocks us on. But yeah, man. So
and paying $50 million for a 42-year-old quarterback. But hey, he might do something.
I mean, you never know. But that's the problem, man. That really is we do have an issue here. We as a,
you paid $50 million for a 42-year-old quarterback after your quarterback that you had finally got his eyes fixed and can see.
It's great. But no, man, just thinking about that though. No, it would be good. But as a consumer, man, we honestly don't have a voice anymore because the consumer in this particular industry. So the problem is, even if the quote unquote consumer wanted to say something, we're gonna end up saying 30 different things. And we're gonna end up saying it on multiple platform, and the message will dilute it to actually make a point. So
The only time the community was unified was the one time that they caved Mass Effect.
Right. Which
believe it or not, that was the only time really unified. Yep.
So, yeah.
Now y'all was unified. We weren't as unified as we talking about, but unified enough to get some things.
Unified enough to talk about it and not try to. Really
no, I was just fighting against Knox and his indoctrination theory.
You always fighting him, to be fair. Well, everyone, that wraps up episode 2 of the State of the Industry for 2020. Join us in the next episode, which should release here in a couple of days, to wrap everything up. We'll talk about things that are important to us and just give our own final thoughts. But really hope you enjoyed the show. Again, get at us on social media and stay open. Open for radio. What community sounds like. Stay open.